So, I lost my job again recently. And why do I say again? Well, I've lost my job 5 times over the past 2 years. And the reason is, I work in the visual effects industry. Now, the visual effects industry is extremely difficult. I would not recommend you get into it unless you really love it. And I wouldn't say I really love it anymore, but I really like it. I like working on these big movies, but if you're not ready for it, the visual effects industry, it will chew you up, it will spit you out. And over the past couple of years, it's been even more difficult than ever. And it's extra difficult if you're an artist. That's what I am. I'm an animation artist, is what they call it. So I'm responsible for making things move. So when you see Godzilla, when you see King Kong, when you see little creatures running around, even aliens, spaceships, really anything, some vehicles, if they need to move, animators like myself, we're experts in movement. Like, we understand movement, we understand how to make a character move. We'll film ourselves acting things out, copy it onto the character. That's our whole role, is the movement of characters, the performance of characters. And I've been doing this for many, many years, like trying to get as good as I possibly can at animation. And I'm at the point now where I can work on huge movies. Movies with big, expensive budgets and make a ton of money. They go and make millions in the box office. I don't see those millions. That goes to directors and producers and actors. But I get to have, a little bit of a stamp on the movie myself. I get my name in the credits amongst the thousands of others, and that's a cool thing. I enjoy it. I enjoy being able to tell people that that's what I do for a living. And probably the number one question that I get asked when I tell people that I'm an animator on these movies is, how did you get into it? Like, how did I become an animator? And the simple answer is, well, I was kind of bad at everything else. And by that, I mean, in school, I was really horrible at math and homework and anything really academic. So when it came to homework, math work, I would grab my pencil and I would just draw instead. And that started to land me in a little bit of trouble eventually, because I wasn't getting very far in math. I had horrible grades. Teachers were getting upset at me. My parents were getting upset at me. But I didn't really care. I just couldn't do it. So eventually I had to get put into like after school classes, trying to, lift my grades, but nothing was working. I didn't want to do it. Even in those after school classes, I would just sit there and I would draw. I would draw in the sides and make little flip books and things, bouncing balls, stick men, that kind of thing. My teachers, my parents, they kind of gave in and they said, hey, maybe this kid is not destined to be, a doctor, an academic, dentist, any of those kind of things. He's a little slow, but he's good at art, so let's push him into the arts. Maybe he can make something of himself there. That landed me in art college. And in art college, I learned about animation. And I thought it was super cool because you could take your drawings, your characters, all the stuff you love to do, and you could bring it to life, which to me was like a whole nother level. I really loved that was possible. So I started out 2D, just drawing. And because I was good at that, my teachers told me, I think maybe you should start to learn 3D because you obviously have a knack for this. And the jobs are now going into 3D. Like, no one really needs 2D or stop motion animation anymore. As cool as it is, it's not going to land you work or a career. So I learned 3D. Well, I started to learn 3D. And I got good enough to the point where I could make it to university. And I was accepted into university and I did a degree in 3D animation, which was super cool because now I can get a job. And I got my first job in London working on a little TV show. And it was called Olive the Ostrich. And it was just about an ostrich going on like imaginary adventures. And I would do 3 minutes the whole episode by myself. And I got really hooked on becoming the best animator I could be. And I worked my way up in that studio. So it was cool that I was, being able to make money and I had opportunities and possibilities. And I could actually pay off these loans I got to be able to go to university in the first place, all because I picked up a pencil and I would refuse to stop. And now, fast forward a few years, I paid off my student loans, which I never thought I would do. It was a lot. I even worked all the way through COVID for a couple of years after that. And then suddenly the writer's strike hits. And the writer's strike hit very, very hard, especially for the people in the VFX industry. The reason being, if there's no writers to write anything in Hollywood because they're on strike, there's nothing for us to animate. And they don't know when the writer's strike's going to end. So Hollywood executives, rich people, do not want people to keep animating because we have to be paid. And they don't know when the writer's strike's going to end. Production all over the place stopped pretty much overnight. And in visual effects, you don't have a lot of job security. They can let you go at any point, no severance, nothing. That happened to me. And I always knew in this industry that it's possible, but you never think that it's actually going to happen to you until it does. And when it hits very, very hard. And suddenly, all this time I had spent investing into my career and, dedicating my time and energy to becoming the best possible animator I could be, all felt as if it was for nothing. And a lot of people lose their jobs all the time and, they bounce back. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, surely this will end. But it hurts and it's difficult to comprehend where you go, what you do. So I spend a lot of time feeling sorry for myself, applying for jobs that I was never going to get because the work wasn't existing, emailing people, creating new demo reels. But nothing could get rid of the anxiety that you feel from, not knowing what's going to happen, things being outside of your control. I'm panicking. I'm running out of ideas and thinking like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Nothing's working. And part of me just wanted to relax. And I guess something in my brain just got switched and I ended up picking up a pencil again, just like I did when I was a kid. And I was overwhelmed by the math and the homework and the expectation. And I started doodling. I just grabbed my sketchbook and whatever came to my mind, started drawing it out. And it actually ended up making me feel a little bit better somehow. Gave me a sense that maybe everything was going to be okay again. Because this pencil and the lines that I make, they sort of guided me to where I am now, to a point where, everything was completely fine. So maybe part of that is that I just need to get back on the track, follow the journey again of wherever this thing is taking me. So I think like if you have a passion that you follow, maybe something when you were a kid that you did a lot of, and that's, something that you've left behind, maybe it's worth picking it up again just for the sheer therapy of it. And I was surprised that even with doing all the career stuff that I've been doing for the past 15 or so years, that this thing had stuck with me. So that got me thinking, what if I'm not done following where this thing is taking me? What if, getting me into art college and getting me into university wasn't where it ends? What if there's a little bit more to it? Not that I think I'm going to be some kind of incredible artist down the line, but what if there's just more of the journey to discover? I think we should all respect our own creative journeys and our personal passions that we have. Maybe you're into music or, I don't know, coding, knitting, something like that, and you've stopped doing it. Maybe this is your sign to kind of pick it back up, because who knows where it might take you eventually. But what I'm saying is it's just important to respect your passions and ultimately respect yourself. Which leads me to YouTube. Now, why the hell am I on YouTube? I'm not very good at talking to camera. This is probably the 90th time trying to do this. Hopefully I'm improving. Maybe let me know. Actually, don't. I don't care. I do care. That's why I don't want to know. I think being on YouTube, it's going to give me a sense of accountability. If I'm showing people, putting myself out there, maybe it's going to make me want to keep going and continue to improve my skills and stay dedicated to this sort of creative pursuit. And I think people these days are they're craving a bit more realness in the content that's out there. A lot of it is very, algorithmic, and there's a lot of AI content out there, which I think is fatiguing people. I think there's fatigue from that kind of thing. So what I'm offering here is just hopefully a sense of calm, a sense of realness that people will be able to relate to, and maybe even get started on their own sort of journey, or restart a journey that maybe they've left behind and they can just easily pick up again. Yeah, I think it's time to start something new and trust that my drawing will lead me somewhere else. We shall see. And I'd love to know if there's something that you want to pick back up, or something that you haven't tried before that you would like to start. The VFX industry is kind of shrinking away. So I feel like now is the perfect time to jump into something else and start building from the ground up a whole new thing. I've always felt like YouTube is not for me. Like, that's for other people who are good at that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's called YouTube. It's about you, me, you, everyone. I think it's easy to look at YouTube the way it is now and be intimidated by what you see, because there's extremely high production quality. And I've been seeing recently in my algorithm on YouTube a lot of smaller creators and artists being pushed to me, because I would like to watch those kind of videos while I work. And it's very inspiring. And I've always thought in the back of my mind, why can't I do that? Why maybe I should? But for whatever reason, I've always pushed that aside and told myself, no, I can't do it. That's for those people. That's for people who are more confident. I'm too introverted. I can't speak to camera, that kind of thing. But I think there's no better time than right now to start things. So this is me starting out. Hopefully you can relate to some of this. Maybe I'm just rambling. I'm going to go ahead and finish this now. I'll probably time-lapse it or something. Let me know if you made it this far. See ya.